No one's got the guts to say this. Stephen A. Smith's bitter truth pill for the Democrats after the election left Bill Maher speechless, and I think the party's bound to lose again if they do not acknowledge it. Simply put, the Democrats have no face right now and have not had a grassroots-supported nominee in a very long time after Barack Obama. I loved how Stephen put it to Bill Maher, so watch for yourself what he said before I tell you the inside details.
Sounds like what happened to the Democrat.
How about that? You know what? And that was an ass kicking. That was, if we're being honest about it, it was a thorough kicking. Ain't no way around it, Bill. I mean, you know more politics than me, but damn it, a blind man could see the Democrats got their ass kicked. Yeah, it was like, you know what? I like that analogy. Democrats similar to Terrence Crawford, Errol Smith Jr. Yep, that works.
I mean,
it was that kind of ass kick. Listen, I like Wes Moore, governor of Maryland, but you have, to use your baseball analogy, you have no bullpen. Who is it? Trump's been the Republican nominee since 2016.
Yeah.
Okay? It is clear that that's who conservatives want in the White House, okay? That's who they supported. They didn't give a damn about the 34 indictments. They didn't give a damn about 2 impeachments. They didn't give a damn about all the legal issues and the lawfare that the Democrats engaged in. They said, Joe, that's who we want. This is the difference, and I said this to a lot of people, Bill. The conservatives said, we want that guy. That's who we want. And the voters decided who the Republican nominee is going to be.
And you know the single greatest evidence for what Stephen A. Smith pointed out? It's that someone who was a complete outsider to the politics like Donald Trump entered the arena in 2016, was vetted by the American people through a rigorous primary process, before being chosen and put into office by the people in a bottom-up movement. That's the stark contrast of why the Democrats have faltered while the Republican Party has only gotten more organized around Trump in the last 3 elections. By the way, this is a great time to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more daily takedowns just like this. Now, if you take a bird's eye view of the last decade, it is hard to call either Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris a button-up grassroots candidate that was brought up in the broad Democratic base rather than just party establishment. While that is the greatest strength of the Republican Party in the same years, even candidates like Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, who were thought to be credible challengers to replace Trump, eventually fell out when the public just didn't respond to them in the primaries. And I think this election has shown that no party that tries to artificially foist a candidate on the people can hope to win an election. That means something scary for the Democrats, that they don't have a lot of time to search for a new face. And that's a warning that Stephen A. Smith, as a Democrat himself, has been screaming to the party for at least a year.
When you look at the Democrats, they didn't do it with Obama, that's true. Okay?
Didn't do what?
They greased the skids. This is the person we want. It's her turn. It was Hillary's turn in 2016. All right, Biden.
Well, that's not Obama. Obama earned it.
No, that's why I said he earned it. But in 2016, and I'm not even trying to imply...
They voted. Hillary ran in the primaries.
I'm not even trying to imply that she... But remember... They were complaining that Bernie Sanders had some momentum and was compromised by the Democratic Party because they were saying it was Hillary's turn. Bernie
Sanders, I love him, but he's too far left, and he would have been a bigger disaster than Kamala was.
That's fine. But what I'm saying to you is, still in all, Bill, what I would, it's rare that I disagree with you. What I'm saying is, the only thing I will push back on is, that's fine. But that's for the voter to decide.
Right.
And a lot of times, the Democratic Party seems as if they've got their claws in the mix. Take Biden, for example. Okay, so, Clyburn helps him get through South Carolina. He ultimately goes to the Democratic nomination. He's the Democratic nominee for the president. He ultimately wins the election. There was supposed to be a red wave in 2022 in the midterms. The Republicans didn't pull that off. And Biden is feeling himself and saying, I ain't going anywhere. I'm not going to. I told y'all I was going to be a transitional president. I told y'all I was going to be a one-term dude. I'm just here as a stopgap to pave the way for the future of the Democratic Party. And then all of a sudden, he in office takes that power.
He was a veritable John the Baptist. Just the guy who goes before.
Come on, bro.
Absolutely.
Bill, the point is that your was going to be 82 years old in the White House.
Have you ever heard anyone from higher up in the Democratic caucus speak the cold truth as candidly as this? I don't always agree with Stephen, but this is really based. Here's the deal. The real base of the Democratic Party, by which I mean the true progressives, liberals, and the left-wing populist of the country, have been trying to scream to their party that they want the right to choose a candidate. And it started as far back as 2016, right after another person they had picked, Barack Obama, was nearing the end of his term. That candidate at the time was Bernie Sanders, running against a candidate like Hillary Clinton, supported by the deeply entrenched establishment. Whether you like him or not, Sanders' grassroots campaign put up a pretty significant challenge to a Hillary Clinton campaign that had all the big money and super PAC donations behind her. In fact, I actually attended a Bernie rally. It was crazy. And that was clear when you saw Bernie's polling numbers shoot up massively in the year between 2015 and 2016. Sanders went up to 48% against Hillary at 50% nationwide, despite the fact that there had been a massive 60% point difference between the two just a year earlier. And then the Democrats decisively sidelined the populist in favor of the establishment candidate, who eventually lost to Trump. They should have seen that coming, but it's clear that despite 2 more elections after that, the Democratic parties failed to recognize that a candidate must rise up from the will of the people rather than being forced upon them.
I have never wanted to be on your show more than I wanted to be on your show when Biden announced that he was going to run for re-election. Because I'm like this, what y'all going to say now? This is some straight. You got a situation where you won the midterm. You denied, you halted, you warded off the red wave. And you, knowing you're going to be 81 in election time, knowing you're going to be 82 in office, right? It wasn't the midterm. It was when the State of the Union address took place. And I saw these people. Remember, the liberals, so when you call yourself progressives.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're looking forward with a dude that's going to be 82 and would leave office when he's 86. Really, y'all? I'm sitting there like, you got to be me. This is what you're talking about? And I'm like, I knew I wasn't voting for Trump. I knew that wasn't going to happen. But I was saying to myself, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And then I looked at their bullpen and they had no one. They had no one. They had no one that could compete with Donald Trump.
Well, not on a charisma level.
Fair. Okay, fair enough.
No,
but charisma is what gets you votes, bro.
Absolutely. And I've said it a million times, insanity photographs.
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
But since we all know how disastrous that turned out to be, let's look ahead for a moment. Now that it's the end of the road for Joe Biden's political career, the Democrats don't have long to search for someone that can carry the party on their back for the next decade. And most worryingly for the Democrats, it's when the Republicans are already shortlisting names like J.D. Vance as the natural heir to Donald Trump and his base. Surprisingly enough, there was a poll after the election about who the Democrat voters would like to see win the primary in 2028. A vast plurality of 41% said Kamala Harris, while just 8% wanted Gavin Newsom. Well, Kamala Harris would either have to radically transform herself as a candidate, or someone better will have to take her place if the Democrats want a shot at victory in the next election. And the reason why? Well, it's hard to imagine someone like Gavin Newsom in that place. It's because he's just not as well known or well respected for his far left politics outside of the state of California. Maybe that could change, but there's already rumblings from within the Democratic Party of people that don't want Gavin taking charge and alienating the party further with the centrist and independent base. Former Democrat operator Evan Barker came out recently to be the first to say it from her party that, quote, Gavin Newsom, if he actually becomes the nominee in 2028, the Democrats deserve to lose again because there's no way a pretty boy from Marin County is going to be able to win over swing voters in swing states. It's not going to happen. They've got 4 years to find out. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith wants the Democrat Party to take these 4 years not just to introspect where it has gone wrong so massively, but also to stop talking about the past Donald Trump and give the voters something to actually look forward to.
You've got nothing. If you're the Democratic Party, here's my advice to you. Shut up. Wait for him to get pushed into office or to accept inauguration on January 20th, and he becomes the 47th president of the United States officially. Wait for then, and then judge him accordingly. Stop talking about the past. The American people have already told you to kick rocks. They don't care what you have to say anymore as Democrats. You have been squashed, obliterated. Nobody in the White House. You don't have the House. You don't have the Senate. And then you're going to walk around talking about how, oh, well, he didn't get 50% of the vote. Well, you didn't either. You lost. And every time you bring up something now, and every time something comes up, you look even worse. Donald Trump is walking into office looking good. Looking good. Because of you. Because of how y'all chose to act, how y'all chose to conduct yourself, how you leaned on to the fringes and got a bit extreme and engaged in culture and identity politics and wokeness and all of this other stuff. You look bad.
That's as loud and clear as someone can be, but we can only guess if anyone from the top of the Democratic Party is even listening. Whatever the case may be, it's clear the party needs to regroup not just for itself or its voters, but to make sure that a healthy and competitive democracy in the country can flourish. Let me know in the comments how you see the next 4 years panning out, because there's no doubt that taking the right set of actions could turn around the Democrats' luck in the next election, as well as America's political landscape with it.